Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to share with you how I made this fun and colorful Darling Donkey card using the Celebration stamp set Darling Donkeys. This stamp set is free when you purchase $50 in product. Choose some of the products that I've used to make this card and you'll be able to earn the stamp set for free. Let me set this aside and we'll get started. I'm going to start with the stamping for this project, and I am going to ink up my donkey and stamp him slightly off to the right using the memento. And then I'm going to come in with the "You're the Best" sentiment, and I'm going to place that right to the left of his legs and under his tail. And then I'm done with the stamping and I can start with the coloring. Now this little guy is bright and fun, so I am going to start with this beautiful little flower he's holding. I'm going to use the Magenta Madness in the light, and then I'm going to come back and put this little swirl there for the back of the flower. Then I'm going to bring in the Just Jade and color his little leaf with the light. And because I want this little stem to have a little bit of presence, I'm going to use the dark on the stem. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to bring in the gray. This happens to be my smoky slate, and I'm going to start with his hoofs. I'm going to color them all in here quickly, just flat color. And then same thing with his muzzle area here. I'm going to color that in, and it's just flat color. Once I've got that done, I can bring in my smoky slate fine tip, and I'm simply going to add some dimension to his hooves by doing the outline on the bottom and the little line that divides the hoof. Just quick and easy. I can also add a little definition to his muzzle by doing that same thing on his muzzle, just adding a little bit of lines and keeping it quick and easy, and coloring in again with my light smoky slate to add that shading. There we go. And now for his body and tail. I'm going to be using the crumb cake here. I'm going to start with the light, and I'm simply going to do his whole tail area here, the underside of his ears. And then I'm going to color his whole body. Just quick and easy, no shading, making sure not to go over those areas I've colored. You can use both the fine tip and the flare tip that I'm using here if you'd like, to make sure that you've got that control that you want. Light and easy touch allows you to get more detail in, and I'm just going to add a little bit of color to a couple of his tufts of hair. I'm going to bring in the dark then and start my shading. I'm going to put a little here on his tail, and I'm going to do a couple of the lines there. I'm going to do this back line of his leg to give him some dimension, and some shadowing on his front leg, and then again on the back and the front leg going all the way around. I'm going to do the underside of this muzzle a little bit and the flower, and then I'm going to bring it up and around. So basically I'm simply outlining the areas just to give them definition. And I can come back and soften that with the light again when I'm finished. I've got the tufts of his hair done now, and I'm going to do the top of his ear. And for the top of his ear, I'm just doing straight coloring here. There we go. And I can soften that line, as I mentioned, simply by bringing in this light and going around those darker lines to blend them. And of course I can add a little more to the line here on his back. And there we go. I just love the way the blends will work. It'll give you a nice color. And if you want to, you can do a complete layer over the top to kind of blend that. That'll help you blend, and then just darken the areas that you want. I've got my coloring done, and I'm ready to move on to assembly. I'm going to bring in my Night of Navy base here and fold it, and use my bone folder to make that nice and tight. And then I'm going to put the Misty Moonlight right on top of that card front. I'm not using any dimensionals or anything. I'm just putting that straight on. Once I've got that done, I'm ready to do these little stripes. These happen to be the other side of the same pattern that I used for the front. And I'm going to start with the middle stripe because I want to put these equal distance apart, and this will set me up for success by doing the middle. So I'm going to pick the middle of my card front here and set this down. Now I am using my grid lines on each side to make sure this is straight. You can also use these little half circles here to line things up that'll peak top and bottom. Once I've got the middle piece in, I am ready to move on to the bottom piece. I'm going to add our Magenta Madness and then our Just Jade. Just adding a little adhesive onto the back of those and stacking them one on top of the other. Once I have that fun band of color there, I'm ready to add my focal point. So I'm simply going to flip him over and place some dimensionals onto the back. And if you noticed, I oopsed earlier with my sentiment, so I can use the other side of this Whisper White. It's nice and thick, and you can stamp on both sides. It's one of the great features of our cardstock. I'm going to take my little guy here, set him right in the middle, and then I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool and these fun enamel dots. These are the 2020 to 22 in color enamels, so you have all the colors to choose from. But I'm going to pick up my Just Jade here with my Take Your Pick, and I'm going to plop one right down there in the center, and then I'm going to add one on each side. There we go. Highlighting that sentiment with that little bit of gloss. I hope you've enjoyed this project, and if you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.